It's over 2 months since about 20 villages were attacked in Plateau State, and the displaced person at that time was about 40,000. Thankfully, the number is reducing, but it's still very high as the state is recording over 20,000 persons in camps in different parts of the state. For instance, here in Joe Sciences camp in Jos South of the state, you have about 2,500 persons staying here, and the conditions obviously is not what one will wish for. Well, that's just part of the story that we'll bring to you on this episode of Big Story. You're welcome. I'm Ini John Mekwa. The camp is the secretariat of the Nigerian Mining and Geoscience Society. They are mainly indigents of Gashish and Rock districts who were affected by the attacks of June 23rd to 25th. Residents of Riom and Jos South have found refuge in other camps. Survivors here are mostly women and children, as most of the men have been killed in the attacks. Clothes are spread on walls and trees, and with the cold weather in the state, it takes a while to dry them. Women have found solace here, making their hair and taking on other chores. But the look on their faces show they are even grateful for this opportunity. Although they are far from the scene of attack, there's still the need for security consciousness, which is why entering or leaving the camp is given attention. Nothing is taken for granted. This is just one of the necessary structures which they have had to build for their survival at the camps. Another is for feeding. The women operate like one large community, and every meal time is like a party time. Large pots, multiple fireplaces, and hundreds of plates and spoons become active. Mothers here have the responsibility to cater for not just their husbands and children, but accommodate every other person as members of their immediate family.
We serve people 3 square meals in this camp, and the plates we acquire them through assistance from many individuals, and then the pots we get them from some organizations.
So
I feed people up to 500 because up to 5,000, 2,000 children and adults like 3,000. However, the number has dropped because some have fizzled into the community. Whenever I finish cooking with my colleagues and the food is ready for eating, we first start with serving the unaccompanied children who are orphans among the IDPs, after which we will give the aged amongst us. Then the rest other children that have parents, then I will serve them, after which any other person will come, even though I normally have problem during serving because most of the children, when they are hungry, they don't have the patience to wait. But that notwithstanding, God is always helping us and everybody is always properly served.
Health and cleaning are some of the other areas built into the structure for the smooth running of the camp, especially when this number of once independent individuals with their children are cramped into one place.
After the incident of 26, our people found themselves in different camps, and it's my duty as a community leader to ensure that there is orderliness. Now, the camps are managed by the affected people themselves. We have departments, we have welfare, we have security, we have inventory, we have finance. Every camp, if you walk into a camp, we have secretaries of the camp. You walk in from the gate, you are checked. Because the assumption is that when you are coming in, you are bringing something. It could be, of course, it could be dangerous. I mean, so from the gate, you are checked. If they ensure that all is, that the properties you're bringing or whatever you're bringing, you know, there's nothing harmful, then you go straight to the secretaries, just like those people you see behind there. You register the things. Even if it is money, you register with them. After registration, they call people from what? From store. They take the things right to the store. Now, you have people who are manning kitchen. You have people who are in section of hygiene. You have people that are doing general cleanliness. Now, all these people, these are people, affected people across all the camps. They are managing themselves. Mine is to go around to really supervise, to make sure that we are on the same page. If there are issues that are affecting one camp, that perhaps we can help, we try to merge, we try to, see how we can solve those problems. Especially, we have serious problems. For instance, you have health problems. You have problems like these are problems that are, similar to all the camps. Individuals have different problems. Families have different, these are characters. And then villages. So when you combine them together, it's something else. And I must be frank with you, managing these camps has been the most challenging thing in the history of my life. I've never seen this, because you find out that there are people who really, of course, you are dealing with the frustrated. Somebody you can imagine, a landlord, somebody who had a house, perhaps one or two, and then suddenly the house, everything is burned, and he found himself in a camp, just like you came in, and we queue, you collect food. You can't imagine that. That alone is it's a problem. There are a lot of children whom their mother, both parents, the father and the mother, killed. Now, we are relations, we are community leaders. They automatically become our children. We ensure that whatever we eat, they will eat. Of course, now it is a big problem to us. These children, we have challenges. They were in school, their parents used to, of course, fend for them. Food, clothing, shelter, and, in terms of even school fees. Right now, they're not there. And we are appealing to the world. Particularly, these kind of people. Of course, we have had people who come in to say, want to adopt. And you will have this problem. The relations with the community, we have this fear. When you come, of course, it's not the community that's responsible for adoption. You have social welfare, of course, government coming. But they have apprehensive. When you give a child, you do not know what kind of treatment is going to be meted on that child. So they are very hesitant about giving out their children. But all we appeal to people, individuals, to take up sponsorship, if they can, of these little ones. And we have very big challenge, particularly managing these widows, these orphans. It is a big problem. A lot of them, we have students here who were writing their WAEC, and suddenly they were attacked. Some of their teachers were killed, and suddenly, in that exam, halfway, was suspended, and they don't know where they hope. So we have all these problems, and these are challenges that we are hoping that maybe with time we will be able to solve.
Sleeping arrangement here is a bed space to a family. During the day, bed spaces become corners where mothers try to keep a little privacy with their children. When night falls, the heap of mattresses become beds, and it doesn't matter who used it the night before, and this increases the risk of spreading diseases. While the children have no problem creating playgrounds at every available space. Groups find time to meet and pray with them for encouragement and psychological needs. Less than 20 minutes drive away, there's another camp in Haipang. This time, a church has graciously given their auditorium and compound to the displaced persons. Number here is about 1,000. The arrangement and challenges is similar to other camps. The running of the camps is done with the supervision of the State and National Emergency Management Agency, as well as a special committee created by the state government. They, through their representatives, coordinate donations and interventions.